I'm Will Richards, and this is The Dash, an insight to the success story of people from all walks of life in their chosen field, from your average Joe to people in the limelight. If you're looking to level up, stick with us. This just might help.
Yeah, I auditioned for it, but during that time, I managed to actually learn a hell of a lot about Tina Turner and realise, actually, like, this is so me.
I like who,
this is so me. And then you get on the show, which was an amazing experience. Like, the judging panel was Jason Manford, Beverly Knight.
I do remember this show.
Adam Lambert and Sheridan Smith. And Ollie Murs hosted it. I went to see the show that I'm in, just to like get me and the other Tinas in the mood for it, like see some Tina Turner and all
so
that
at this
kind
point
of
you had no idea that you would be
No
offered
idea,
this.
absolutely no idea. I didn't even know this show existed.
Right.
Actually, the episode aired, and like that same week I got the call for that exact show because the current leading lady was leaving.
Right, okay. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like I sung at this wedding party thing. Gary Barlow turns up and there's like history there with Dad as well.
Right, so, okay, this is insane. So, firstly, what was the lady's name that married herself? What is your favourite go-to memory of you and your mum?
There's some memories, of course, like...
For context,
I think that was a sign.
one of the TV remotes just flew across the room, so...
Wow. Mum, are you here?
Yeah.
Are you here? She's like, I'll give you a memory.
Yeah.
That was weird.
That's fucked me up a little bit, I'll be honest with you.
That was fucking
Okay.
weird.
How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Really good, thank you. Thank you for
Good.
coming in. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
A slightly different version of creative,
Yeah.
I think, on stage more than on screen or anything else like that. Very, very talented in your own right.
Thank you.
You may have seen Holly before from various different places. So let's just sort of set the scene a little bit, first of all. Who are you and what do you do right now?
So I'm Holly, obviously. I'm a singer. And what I do right now is I'm in 2 touring shows. The UK's #1 touring tribute shows, in fact.
Plug.
Tina Turner show called What's Love Got to Do With It, and a Whitney Houston show called Queen of the Night.
And let me just put this in perspective for people. You are Tina or Whitney.
Exactly that. I'm the lead in both.
I mean, incredible. Congratulations.
Thanks.
That is
It is
fantastic.
amazing. It's amazing. Hard work, don't get me wrong. Hard work to like emulate 2 absolute icons, but I absolutely love it. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Who's your favourite?
Tina's my favourite.
Yeah.
Tina's my favourite.
That's not, I wouldn't think you'd just say straight off the bat, that one. Yeah.
Do you know what? Growing up, I'd say I listened to Whitney a lot more. Like, love Whitney, especially being out with the girls. You know, I Want to Dance with Somebody comes on, and that's like always the track of the night. But performance-wise, I found such a love for like rock and roll.
Yeah.
Especially. And I think that just suited me a lot more. It's just a much more fun show for me, you know. I can really like sit into it. And also with the Tina show, you have to get into character. And I'm a
Okay.
performer, and I love that. With Whitney, it's you're yourself.
Yeah.
You just have to perform well, sort of thing. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Right. So
They're
we
very
understand.
different.
Yeah, they're very different. And obviously you've got a favourite now.
I do.
You've said it. It is what it is. So let's go from here. How on earth have you created in your own right a very successful career? Where did it all start for you? Because there's a million people that would love to be in your shoes. And I know that you're very modest and very grateful for where you're at, but you've worked your bollocks off to get there.
Yeah.
So, for lack of a better term.
Well.
So, yeah. So, where did it all start? Was it a dream from when you were a child?
So where it all started, I was 8 years old, and I remember looking at the TV, and Jennifer Lopez was on the TV.
Okay.
It's a music video.
Good old J-Lo.
Good old J-Lo, looking
Yeah.
all sexy and all this like movement, like the sound, everything. I was like, that is a pop star, and that's what I want to be.
Right.
So that's where initially it came from. But aside from that, my dad's also a musician. So growing up, I grew up all around music. You know, I was used to seeing my dad come and go constantly, like going away touring and performing. So I was always around music. But when I saw J-Lo on the TV and just how like, just the whole pop star like side to it. I just thought that's exactly what I want to do. So I realised I could sing shortly after that. Like I thought I'm going to give this a go. And I didn't do anything with it though. I was so shy when I was a kid.
Really?
Like so shy. Yeah, not confident whatsoever. Like you would never catch me singing in front of anyone.
Okay.
So obviously a few years pass, you know, you're going to school, you're doing your normal life things. I probably hit secondary school and I used to tell people that I could sing, but I would never sing. Like no one would ever hear me sing. Then I started to do a little bit of karaoke and all these kind of things. And I said to my dad, like I did speak to my dad about it because he used to get me in the studio when I was younger. Like at home, I would sing with him. Like we had like a studio in the basement. I'd go down there, record some songs. But again, just didn't really show anyone, didn't do anything with it. And then as I got a bit older, hit my teen years, I thought, right, I'm going to do some karaoke, put myself out there a little bit and try. But I found that when you get to that age of being a teenager, you're introduced to boys, you're introduced to like going out and enjoying yourself. Like I didn't really push myself with it at all.
Okay.
Like at all. And my dad, you know, even though my dad was in the music industry, he wasn't someone that was pushing me, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but he wasn't trying to like place me anywhere. You know, I was just kind of like getting on with my life. So the choice was on me. And I guess I chose to do other things at the time. Always had the dream in the back of my mind, like, I'm going to be a singer. Like, but that was it. That was all it was. Like, I'm going to be a singer. I didn't know how. I think at that age, you kind of just think life's going to fall in your lap.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I used to think. You know, well, it's fine. Like, in 5 years' time, something big will happen and it'll be fine. Obviously, it does not work like that. There's a hell of a lot of work behind it. So I started doing X Factor auditions as well.
Okay, yeah.
I did them for 7 years, got nowhere. Absolutely nowhere.
Seems to be a lot of people get nowhere with X Factor, even the people who won it.
Exactly,
So-
So, you know, and that's the funny thing about it. I think everybody, you know, when you have a dream and you want to be a singer, when you first start out of realising that that's the dream that you want, like for me, it's kind of like you see the fame side of it especially, and it's like, you know, oh wow, you know, I want that lifestyle. I want to be big. I want to be famous. I want to be Beyonce. You know, I want to be as big as Michael Jackson, all this kind of stuff. But actually, like when you actually start the journey of trying to like build that success in that industry, it doesn't come down to any of that at all. Like a lot of it is generally, if you just believe in yourself and it's what you want to do and you enjoy it and it's your passion, that's actually what's more important.
Yeah.
Everything else comes with it. Everything else will then come. Like I think I wanted to go into it so backwards. Like I said, just sitting waiting for everything to happen for me. And then just thinking I'm going to have this big, famous, successful life. Like, and now, like, fast forward however many years, like, I couldn't want anything even opposite. Like,
I love it. There's loads of things to unpack.
Yeah.
First things first, and I know that you're not gonna want me to say this, but I think it's fair for me to say this. Before we explain who your dad is, you built your own career.
100%, I did. Obviously, you know, my dad's is very successful. He had his own career in his own right as well. So, funnily enough, so my dad. Should I tell you who my dad is?
I think everyone's sat there going, "Well, come on then." Okay, so your dad is Greg Bannis.
So my dad's name's Greg Bannis, and people knew him many years ago more so because he was the lead singer in Hot Chocolate.
Amazing.
He took over the original lead of the show in 1992. My dad went on a program called Stars in Their Eyes. Do you remember that?
Yes.
You're old enough for that?
Yeah, easy. I've seen reruns.
Well, so Stars in Their Eyes, obviously you go on in the big smoke and you come out tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be so-and-so. I don't think it was Matthew actually back then. It was so long ago. But anyway, so my dad went on as Errol Brown, who was the original lead singer, because he was leaving the band and they was looking for a new front lead man. So my dad's gone on and smashed the performance, to be fair, literally like identical to Errol Brown. And the band saw him, called him up and, you know, gave him the gig. Like,
that's mental.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Right. Okay. There's so many things to unpack here. Right.
Yeah.
So your dad was, you know, a talented guy, still is
Yeah.
a talented guy, and by chance went on to Stars in Their Eyes as an average Joe.
Yep.
And the band that he was replicating the frontman of saw him and said, well, look, our frontman's off, so you're in.
Exactly.
That's fucking mental. I love stuff like that.
It is. But not to forget, right? So my dad did a lot before that as well. But when that happened to my dad, right, that was his break, right? And he was 40 years old. So, you know, he'd done everything that he had up to that point, but it was only that kind of really elevated him in his game, I guess, you know, and people started to know who he was. And he toured the world with so many superstars, like, but has performed alongside like so many.
Give us some names.
Oh my God, like Chic, Nile Rodgers, Lulu, Shaggy, UB40, like, yeah, he's toured and worked with so many people.
I need to have a chat with your dad.
I know, get him on.
So imagine that, father and daughter ones.
So interestingly, as the story goes on, like let's say fast forward to where I've got to now, obviously there's a lot in between, but what I feel my story and how I got to where I am quite unique is obviously my dad did that, and then there was a TV show that I went on called Starstruck.
Right, okay. Starstruck, stars in our eyes, close.
Very close.
See what it is, yeah.
And exactly the same sort of idea as well. So,
oh, is it?
Yeah. So different format, slightly, but it's basically today's modern version of Stars in Their Eyes.
Wait, are you about to tell me that's how you got found for...
Yeah.
What?
I know. Fucking weird.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, right.
Yeah. So it was actually, well, it was in lockdown. Okay, so obviously we all had like nothing to do in lockdown. I was at a point as well in my career. I'd started singing by then. I was just doing pubs, clubs, restaurants and all that kind of stuff. But in lockdown, obviously I couldn't perform. And I was just applying for like TV shows, like left, right and centre, because I've done some TV before and I love all that kind of stuff. But obviously I also was a bit like, where am I going with my singing and my music? And a friend sent me the application for Starstruck. Now, this would have been the 4th show that I was applying for. And I was a bit like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere. Like, can't really be bothered. It's just another audition. Went for it. Obviously, everything was on Zoom at the time. And you have to audition as 3 icons, basically. So I chose Beyonce, Whitney Houston and Tina Turner.
How ironic.
How ironic. Tina Turner's not really at the top. She wasn't really at the top for me, I wouldn't have said. I already did like my own style Whitney Houston tribute show and I just loved Beyonce, so I thought, why not?
I mean, who doesn't?
Exactly. But with Tina, I did sing a couple of Tina songs already, but I didn't think that Tina was who I was going to be chosen for. So, yeah, I auditioned for it. They really liked me. I got a call back, then another call back, and then they send you for like a workshop. There's quite a lot of rounds and auditions. But during that time, I managed to actually learn a hell of a lot about Tina Turner and realise, actually, like, this is so me.
I like who,
this is so me. And then you get on the show, which was an amazing experience, like genuinely like one of the best things I've ever done. Really well looked after and just worked with some really cool people. The judging panel was Jason Manford, Beverly Knight.
I do remember this show.
Adam Lambert and Sheridan Smith.
Yeah.
And Ollie Murs hosted it.
Right.
Yeah. So the format was there's 3 of each icon. So there was 3 of us as Tina Turner. You'd have like 3 Rag and Bone Man, 3 Ollie Murs and 3 Freddie Mercurys, for example. And we won our heat. So 3 of us sing a Tina song together. So you have to win your episode. We won that, and then you go through to the next stage, the semi-finals. Now, I didn't win that heat. I didn't win that episode. One of the other Tinas did. But that's fine. Like, she absolutely deserved it. I'm still friends with the other Tinas. Like, it was an amazing...
Good.
Yeah, like, it was really, really good. But obviously, off the back of that, I... got a little bit of exposure, I guess, to people who was maybe looking for somebody like me for a show like what I'm in now. So, like the producer of the show that I'm in now saw me, got in contact with me, and that's basically how I've landed being in the shows that I'm in now. But what's even weirder is...
It gets weirder?
It gets weirder.
Right, okay.
Things always get weird with me. Before I went to see this show... before I was on before my episode of, can I say that again?
Of course you can,
just slow my words there.
That's fine.
Before my episode aired of Starstruck, I went to see the show that I'm in, just to like get me and the other Tinas in the mood for it, like see some Tina Turner and all
So
that
at this
kind
point,
of
you had
stuff.
no idea that you would be offered
No
this?
idea, absolutely no idea. I didn't even know this show existed.
Right.
But I saw it was on at the O2 in London, like the Indigo. So we travelled up there, went to see the show, and I was just like, that is amazing. Like, that is what I want to do. You know, like I would love to do that. And I was just so in like the Tina mode for it. And then, yeah, literally the episode aired, and like that same week I got the call for that exact show because the current leading lady was leaving.
Right. Okay. Oh my goodness. So, just to put everything into bullet points here, your dad, Greg Bannis,
Yeah.
of Hot Chocolate fame,
Yeah.
was found by the original Hot Chocolate group, we'll say, as their original lead was heading out of the band to do their own thing, and they needed someone equally talented. They found your dad via Stars in Their Eyes.
Exactly.
You went on another ITV show called Starstruck, and the same kind of process happened for you, for the producers to find you to be the lead for the Tina Turner tour, which is called...
Weird, right? No, sorry, that's not what it's called.
Oh, what's it called?
What's Love Got to Do with it?
What's Love Got to Do with it? I should have known
But
that,
it's
really.
weird, right? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So weird.
It's so weird that if ever you question whether or not there's some, I don't know if you want to call it power or some, you know, whatever your belief be, religion, power, the universe, whatever, it obviously exists because that is mind blowing.
Yeah.
That isn't a coincidence, you know, that's insane. But there's something else I want to recap on. What you said earlier on. When you were younger, I love this attitude that you had because you didn't even know you said it. You said that you would be a singer.
100%.
You didn't say, I want to be a singer.
No, I would
you said,
be.
I will be a singer.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, again, that attitude towards anything in life, I will be, is again, no matter what he believes, if it's law of attraction, manifestation, whatever it might be, manifest behind you there.
Exactly.
It's good old Roxy Nafusi. So it's brought it on board for you, I think.
It has. You have to. And like, I had a huge manifestation journey. Like, a big part of me even getting on that show was manifested. Like, I went on a whole transformational journey almost, like throughout lockdown, especially. But you have to think consciously how you talk to yourself as well, like you say, like, and that took a lot of work, you know, like a self-belief is the biggest part for that. Because when I was younger, like I said, like I knew I would be a singer. It wasn't just that I wanted to be, didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew it would happen. But I also think I wasted a bit of time sitting back and not allowing it to happen, like not putting the work in for it to happen. But, you know, things work out how they're supposed to. You know, my journey started a lot later than I'd say your average singer. You know, like I was 23 when I actually really put my arse into gear and started my singing career. That's quite late.
Okay. I mean, obviously that's based on the industry standard.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess so. You know, when you see all these TV shows or, you know, you go back many, many years ago, people were looking for like youngsters, you know, like in
Your
their
X Factor is always young groups, One Direction, whatever it might be, Little Mix.
I mean, I don't think they even have an overs category anymore in these kind of shows.
The mad thing is the overs category we'd be part of now.
Oh shit, maybe that's all it is.
Which is horrific, isn't it? We're that age now. So, okay, and we're only still young, and I do completely get what you're saying. For you started late and whatever.
Yeah.
But I love that you disprove that whole thesis that you have to start younger. Not only by doing it, number one, you were talented, you had it, you weren't waiting around.
No.
You know, you weren't like, oh, it will come to me. You just thought, I didn't put my arse in gear. You got to 23 and then you did it.
Yeah.
You could have got to 33 and done it.
Yeah.
You could have got to 43 and done it. How old was your dad?
My dad was 40 when he got his first big break. So the thing is, though, what I realised, I mean, it's quite bittersweet, really, because something happened to me to make me want to really push for my dreams now. You know, like, so yeah, I was 23 years old, so it's 2014, and I lost my mum. And that was the moment where I was like, what are you doing with your life, Holly? Like, you know, you go through something, and I had to make something out of that situation. Like, I had to really wake up. So that was a massive wake-up call for me. And I was also faced with a decision when I did lose my mum. Like, I can either like die with my mum right now, or I can go and live for her. And like, that's always stuck with me. And that's what I have to remember a lot of the time when I'm doing what I do, and remind myself of the reasons of the passion behind what I do. My mum's never seen me sing, you know, like, she saw me practice at home. Tell a lie, I think she came to like, I used to do like little singing competitions locally in like the pubs and stuff, like leading up to her passing actually. But she's never been to one of my shows.
She watches them though.
She's there. There was one show I did and a white feather just like fell down in front of me.
We all know about the white feather, yeah.
Really special. That was really special. But
so it was a grief that drove you forward, and it's exactly the same with me in this literal
really?
podcast. Yeah.
Wow.
Which I'll explain the whole meaning to it later. But yeah, so what happened to Mum? Was it a sudden thing?
No. So my mum had cancer.
Right.
She actually got cancer from the age when I was 14, first of all. And I remember I came home from school and she was sat on her bed with one of my friend's mums. And I was a bit like, what's up? And like she sat me down and said, you know, like, I've got cancer. And like, the first thing I said is, are you going to die? Like, I was only young. And she was like, it was a bit like a don't know kind of response, but not no, I'm not, but yes, I'm going to. My mum was always very like straight and real and honest, like with me. So yeah, I remember that messed my head up throughout my teen years. Like when I look back, like I was very, I think, you know, I'll say I went off the rails. This is the bizarre thing. Like if anybody knew me that doesn't know me, knew me back then and saw who I am now, it is two completely different people.
Okay.
Completely different people.
So self-proclaimed you went off the rails there. What sort of things were you say were so reckless? What were you doing?
Yeah, I was reckless, you know, like I just didn't care about much. Like I don't even think I had very many morals at that age. I was drinking a lot. I was just out partying all the time. Like looking back now, it was all an escape. I didn't know how to deal with things. I didn't sit with myself. I didn't sit with the reality of things. And like growing up as well, like with my dad, you know, he was away touring all the time. He was never really home. Mum was always in bed ill. Like she got cancer from, first of all, like, you know, breast. And she was really poorly from it, had to go through chemo. You know, I come home from school some days and like mum's walking around with her hair falling out of her head. And it was really bizarre. Like,
a lot to deal with.
It was a lot to deal with. But like, my mum was also like, just go and enjoy your life. Like, you know, don't worry about me. Like, I'm all right. Like, you haven't got to sit in with me sort of thing. So I'd go out, but then it would just be like, just being interested in like, yeah, like drinking, partying, boys, all this kind of stuff. Like I weren't using my biggest outlet, which is singing. You know, like that helps me now. Like, that's my therapy now. But back then, I suppose I hadn't really registered or developed into like my true passion, which was like singing and performing.
So I've got an outlook on this. Do you regret it? It sounds like you regret the recklessness.
I don't like to regret things. And because of how my life is now, I don't know how it would be if it was any different. So one of the things that always stick with me, this was something I had to like deal with a lot actually in my head mentally, exactly what you said there, like, do I regret things and, you know, things being different? And even the passing of my mum, what I've realised in life is, it's a quote that I took away from an event I went to once. Problems are gifts. Like problems are truly gifts. And I found that a massive realisation when I heard those words come out of like this speaker. I went to see Tony Robbins, who I just absolutely love. I went to one of his seminars and yeah, when he said that message just really like struck a chord in me, it felt like, because I thought, that's so true. Like everything that anybody gets is normally off of the back of something traumatic or something major that's happened, because it does push you. So like, be grateful for the problems and the losses, because they do turn into a gift of some form.
I totally agree. It's difficult to accept, especially in your personal situation, because obviously you lost your mother, which we should never have to do at a young age. You know, it's inevitable for us all, but it's such a hard thing to say, but everything happens for a reason.
It does. And I you know, I have days where I do think, if my mum was still here, my life would be so different. But would it be how it is now? Like, would I be as, you know, doing as well as I am now? I don't know. Or you just, so many things go through my head. Like, obviously I would give anything to have my mum back here. Like, it kills me that she doesn't get to see any of this. She will never see like me grow up. She'll never see me with a family. Like she'll never even see me like be truly happy. She'll never see me perform any of this. Like, you know, that the only thing I think is a bit shit is obviously the time that she was around. I think I was just a mess. I feel like there's things that I wish I could have done better. But again, you can't live there in your head.
God, you'll beat yourself up, mate.
Yeah,
You've
you
got to
can't.
be careful with it. And like you said, the white feather.
Exactly.
She is there.
She is there. I've had many moments where I felt her presence, which is lovely, you know. And obviously, you know, I've still got my dad. He lives in Spain at the moment. He's still working all the time at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, not with the band, of course. He was only with the band, 18 years. He was with them.
Only 18 years?
Only 18 years.
Just a quick 18-year stint in the band.
He was with them from 1992 till 2010. But obviously off the back of that, you know, he's just had so much work and, you know, he does a lot, just like a few little bars in Spain now, but he'll also still be swanned off to Austria and Germany doing all these like big fancy shows still. So he's living the dream. He's 75.
Oh, really?
As
Wow,
well.
yeah.
75. He was
Wow.
like 42 when he had me, which is gross. But yeah, he's 75.
It's not gross. It's not gross. It's completely normal. Okay, so again, there's loads of things to cover here. So one thing I want to ask you is, what is your favourite go-to memory of you and your mum?
Do you know, it's really shit that you asked that, and it's hard for me to think of it. And I only say that because, again, my memories of my mum are generally me coming home from school, coming home from work, and she's in bed, you know. There's some memories, of course, like... That was really random.
There's a presence in here
Oh my God,
right now.
that was a sign. Oh my God.
For
I
context,
think that was a sign.
one of the TV remotes just flew across the room. So
Wow. Mum, are you here?
Yeah.
Are you here? She's like, I'll give you a memory.
yeah, remember that time I threw a TV remote you in?
Oh my God.
Right, okay.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, that was weird.
That's fucked me
That
up a
was-
little bit, I'll be honest with you.
That was fucking
Okay.
weird. Yeah, one of the memories. I've totally lost my train of thought now.
No,
Where
it's
was,
fine.
Where
That's
was
completely
I?
thrown me off as well. But yeah, so I was asking you one of your favourite memories or go-to memories of you and your mum. She came to
yes.
see you at a talent show. I remember you said that.
Yeah, she come to see that. No, one of the memories I do have, that's what I was saying. So where obviously she felt really ill when I was like 14. It's like anything before that is generally just hard to remember anyway. I've got a few memories of like how things were in my childhood when we were younger. But one of my favourite memories I remember, we had so many animals. My mum loved animals. So like we'd have 2 dogs, 5 cats, 2 chinchillas, a couple of rabbits, hamsters, everything flying around in the house, right?
Right.
And my dad hated animals. And I would literally, I remember I walked in my house, and in my house there was like a hallway, then the stairs. Mum would sit on the stairs when she felt well enough. She'd get herself out of bed in her pyjamas, be like 4 PM. I'm coming home from school, open the door, and she just lets all the animals like run riot together in the hallway. Like all of them got on fine.
Yeah.
And I've walked through and I'm like, this is all a little bit crazy. And then my dad sat there, absolutely livid. I'm like, what's the matter? And he's like, basically like one of the rabbits have chewed through one of his wires, like his headphone wires, absolutely screwing. But it was priceless. Like my mum's face, she just gets pure joy out of these animals. And like my mum and dad were so chalk and cheese. Like I'll never forget. Like they were so opposite. But like no matter what, like dad won't be angry at mum. Do you know what I mean? Like her animals were like her comfort. I think that got her through everything. But I just remember like, yeah, I'd come through the doors and like she's all sat there with all her animals. And our thing at home and what my friends used to love as well is we used to call my mum like Sal Ban, like Sally Bannis, like Sal Ban. And come home from school, the girls would come over or whatever, even before a night out. And our thing was sitting on the end of her bed. So like you go into the bedroom, it's like a fairy sanctuary, basically. Like she just loved she loved fairies as well, like proper loved fairies. But all of us girls would like sit on the end of beds. I'd be complaining about boys or something. She'd be telling me, oh, he's a dickhead, don't worry about him, sort of thing. Yeah. And like all my friends just loved my mum. Like we would always sit on the end of her bed and just have like little chats.
Good old Sal Ban.
Good old Sal Ban.
I love that sort of thing.
But it is hard, like, to actually think of real memories because, you know, I didn't have that mother and daughter relationship that I wish I did have because we couldn't go out for lunches. Mum couldn't do a lot. You know, she got cancer once, it went away, but then she had ME for like 5 years. Then the cancer came back. And then that was, you know, that just completely wiped her out. And then, you know, she passed away.
But I think everything happens for a reason.
It
We mentioned
does.
this, obviously, and you had what you were meant to have. I don't necessarily think that it's hard for you to think of those memories. The reason I ask you is because they're in there.
They are in there.
We just, because of the trauma, we just sort of block them. So it's almost like a little gesture to say, look, if ever you get some time on your own, rather than grabbing your next audiobook or whatever it is, just have a little think because they're in there, you know, and it's only going to benefit us in the long run, I think. You mentioned earlier on that even though your dad was of a musical and still is of a musical background, not musical is the wrong word considering you're in this show, but you know, he's a musician.
Yeah.
He never actually pushed you to be in this industry, you said.
No, I wouldn't say so. Like, for example, you get some of them parents, right, that they're like, oh, like, my kid can sing, like, they're so good, and they like push them and think they're the most amazing thing, but actually they're crap. Do you know what I mean? Like, I used to see that a lot, queuing up, doing all the X Factor auditions, parents with their kids. Like, I was on my own. Well, actually, I wasn't always on my own, actually. I had a really good friend whose mum used to come with me, just because obviously my mum couldn't and my dad would be away most of the time. But, you know, I'd hear these kids in the queues and the parents and be like, you know, well, my daughter's so good, like, listen to her sing. And I think, she's terrible. Why are you putting her through this?
It's because people want to live vicariously through their children, don't they? They never did it themselves.
But, like, come on, like, no.
It's cruel.
It is cruel. But if that's your dream, that's your dream. But, like, these kids just weren't good in my eyes. But anyway, my dad was the opposite. Like, I was good, but I was not ready. That was the thing. When I was ready, it was different. But when I was younger, I think my dad obviously could see what I was doing and thought, well, she doesn't want it. She doesn't want it because I weren't focusing on it. So maybe that's why he sort of left, like, set back a little bit. Whenever I said to him, you know, I want to do some recording or I want to do some singing, he was there. Like, he would do it with me. Oh my God, we used to set the speakers up in the house. I'd get the microphone out. The neighbours would be knocking because I'm blasting the music and singing, like, full-on massive PA system, like sound system.
Belting them out.
Absolutely belting them out. But it was then when, like, I was doing this, so that, say, late teens through to early 20s, and, like, my dad would literally be like, you're not good enough. Like, you're not good enough.
Wow.
And he actually said to me, come back to me when you can sing Amazing Grace. And I was like, ouch. Like, ouch.
That's mad, isn't it? Do you resent that?
I think I did for a while, but I don't now.
No, exactly.
No.
Now, you
I
look back
don't now.
and thank God he pushed you through that, right?
I'm so glad that...
Could have been a bit more gentle about it. But
He could have, but that's just my dad's so critical. Like, he would literally say to me, like, I would be like, oh, I remember there was a song, that Alicia Keys song, New York. I went to him, all right, I'm going to go and sing this, like, set everything up, started singing it, and he was like, oh, no. And I was like, oh, ouch, okay. Like, I just couldn't sing it. And he was right. Like, looking back, I couldn't sing it. I just thought I could. But what he was doing there, which I didn't realise now, is I built a lot of, like, resilience and strength from him actually setting me back a little bit like that.
yeah.
Because, like, I can take the criticism. Like, you get so much in a job that I'm in now, especially, you know.
You've got to be thick-skinned, of course.
You have to be thick-skinned. And he really taught me that, because even the so many no's that I've got, and, you know, you'll never make it, you're not good enough. Like, I've heard all of that. And it hurts, don't get me wrong. But, you know, I've never let that stop me. If anything, I'm like, right, well, I've got to go and try harder. I've got to go and work at that and prove them wrong.
So would you say that your dad's attitude towards that sort of educational part of it,
Yeah.
like, is that a big help for you?
It is a big help for me, I would say. I think where, you know, my dad was who he was, and he's so good. Like, he's so good at what he does. Everybody loves him. He's an entertainer. I think I just always wanted, like, his approval. Like, I always wanted the praise from him. And because I wasn't getting that, I think that did lead me to resent him a little bit in terms of, you know, trying to do my singing career. Like, it was literally, like I say, when my mum died, where I was like, right, I have to do this. And I actually used to do some charity shows, like to give back to Macmillan, the charity who looked after my mum. So I put on this first charity show, I think it was like a year after my mum passed away. And I was really working for it. Like, I was 23 years old. I'm at home. I'm just singing over all these songs, singing constantly. Like, my dad was around. He'd either be criticising or saying I'm good. Like, that one's good, that one's not, whatever. But it was to the point where, you know, I was 23 years old, still trying to make it, still trying to figure out this singing career. And I would shut myself in my bedroom, literally knock my head against the wall crying, like at 23, you know. And then eventually my dad was like, okay, you know, I see what you're doing. You're putting the work in. You're sounding good. Like, your voice has developed a bit more. You're older. I think you might be ready. And I was like, yes, like, finally.
Okay.
So I did this charity show, and he invited one of his agents along to come and check me out to see, you know, maybe I can get some work. And his agent loved me. I took the work. I was over the moon. Like, I was in a day job, still in a day job and everything, but I could start going out doing gigs. And I'll never forget this. I'll never forget this agent, because he really was the start of my career for me. He helped me out so much. So I got on his books, and you just go out singing in like pubs, restaurants, working men's clubs, social clubs, all them kind of things. But my God, you learn your craft when you do that. You know, at the time, I did it for 10 years. You know, you get to a point where you're literally like, oh my God, like, how many more times can I sing that song? How many more fucking times can I do this? Loading my car up every day with all like my speakers. Like, it was hard, and alongside a day job as well. But he gave me so much work, and everywhere I went, they loved me. Like, they genuinely loved me. And I was torn in my head a bit like, oh, my dad thinks I'm all right, but these people think I'm amazing. Like, what am I? Like, you know, it was mentally, it was a lot. It wasn't just...
Must be confusing.
It was.
Would you then start to... Because there's more than one person saying you're amazing,
yeah,
and your dad saying you know, you got a long way to go still. Technically, that's what that means, isn't
that's
it?
exactly it.
So
Just I've got a long way to go. He wasn't wrong.
Was there part of you that goes, Dad, are you wrong?
Yeah, yeah. Because I would get like such good feedback. And bearing in mind, all these places that I was performing in are places that my dad had performed in, because it was an agent of my dad. So he's done all these places. And I used to finish and be like, they said I'm better than you. Or like, there was actually one time where they had my dad booked. It was a restaurant. They had my dad booked, and they actually asked to cancel him and have me instead.
Ooh.
And I could not wait to tell my dad.
Greg. I bet that one hurt. Oh.
Yeah.
Right, okay. You've reminded him now. I have a feeling he's going to watch this, right? And he's going to message you and go, I was going to send you my approval, remind you that I love you, but fuck off.
I was going to say I'm proud of you, but...
Yeah, now I'm not. I want that gig money.
That is my dad. He'll be like, you can pay me that money.
Yeah, too right. He made you who you are.
Yeah. But yeah, I did that for 10 years, you know. From then it was one agent, then it went to another agent. Eventually I had 4 agents. So, because if you're with one agent, you're just working in the same places on rotation over the year. You know, it's boring. And it's the same. I don't like going back to the same place too regularly, because I do the same thing. And, you know, it's the same people. So I got more and more work. Started doing some more corporate-y kind of stuff as well. Never really done weddings. I'm not a wedding singer.
Right.
I've done one wedding. Well, I say I've done a wedding. It was actually for a woman who married herself. This is quite a bizarre story, actually.
Right. Please. I mean, I'm ready for it.
Yeah. So it was her 40th birthday, and she arranged a wedding. So this woman, like, she hired out a whole venue, ran the whole day like a wedding. I had to sing her down the aisle. She had, what's the person that marries you called?
I don't know.
A marrier.
The geezer.
The geezer. She has the geezer there that do all the paperwork, everything. So I sung her down the aisle, got everybody up. We did some like songs all together. It was bizarre, absolutely bizarre. People go off, have like the photographs done. You have a sit down meal.
Well, there were guests there.
Oh yeah, it was a wedding, but she married herself. She literally married herself.
I mean, I feel it.
I don't know how official this is in terms of she's actually married to herself, but it was her wedding day, right? It was a full-on wedding day. It gets more bizarre. And then in the evening, it turned into her 40th birthday. So
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a big party and everything. Now, she was an absolute, or is an absolute Take That fanatic.
Right.
Obsessed with Take That. She'll really laugh if she hears this. And she loved Gary Barlow. Loved Gary Barlow. And weirdly, where my dad used to live, up north, like in Bolton or somewhere like that, many, many years ago, before he was who he was, he used to sing in a working men's club, and so did Gary Barlow.
Right.
So they would like perform together. And I always remember my dad saying to me, like, Gary was very different to my dad, like almost quite shy sort of thing. Whereas my dad like had all this energy, like he's a big character, my dad, like, you know, put him on stage, he will absolutely tear it apart. Like he's a proper entertainer. And he said to me, like in the dressing rooms, Gary Barlow said to him, like, I wish I had your confidence, you know, like, and then look who Gary Barlow is. Like everyone knows Gary Barlow. Not everybody knows my dad as such, but everybody knows Gary Barlow. It's just crazy. So we're at this wedding party, whatever you want to call it. And the woman who married herself and whose birthday it was, she did start a campaign to try and get Gary Barlow at her birthday or wedding. And he turned up.
Fuck off.
He turned up.
Right, okay.
He turned up. We're all dancing. We actually had a Gary Barlow tribute act to
But
start.
that made his day.
Absolutely. And mid through one of the songs, Gary Barlow, with all his security and everything, just glides through the crowd straight up to her, and she's absolutely made up. We're all made up. Do you know what I mean? But I remember telling my dad that there was a chance that Gary Barlow could turn up because we knew that she was going to like do a big campaign for this to get him to come, and he did. And he said to me like, "Oh, just write a little note out saying," because I think my dad's name was Friday Robinson, if I remember right. That was like his stage name back then. How Gary would have known him. So I wrote out this little letter just saying like, would love to chat. My dad was Friday Robinson or something like that. And I didn't get to go up to Gary directly, but his PA was there. And I just said to her, "Oh, please, will you give this to Gary? Like, I think he'll acknowledge it." But he never did, never heard nothing.
Oh.
But yeah, I know. But it was just really bizarre how like, yeah, like I sung at this wedding party thing. Gary Barlow turns up and there's like history there with Dad as well.
Right. So, okay, this is insane. So, firstly, what was the lady's name that married herself?
Atty,
this is of no judgment of you. For me, it's the first time I've heard of it. But all for it. Like, who needs somebody else?
Exactly.
Marry yourself.
Exactly.
Because you are the full package.
You are.
You tell them, bitch.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And she did.
Yeah.
She did.
Damn right. Okay. So, you were booked to sing at a wedding. Somebody married themselves. Fine. Then that becomes an evening party. She created a campaign. She wanted Gary Barlow to turn up because she was a mega fan. Yeah. And this happens quite often. People try and create these campaigns. Yeah. This one worked. Gary Barlow turns up. I mean,
crazy. That's the only wedding I've done. And I think I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah, you can't beat it, can you? That's you've topped it, yeah.
Yeah.
So the best wedding ever for Atty there.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully she never gets divorced.
No, well, we'll have to see about that.
Yeah, but that I like that though. I do like that. There's a lot of power in that.
Yeah. She's a great woman.
So you're not a wedding singer? So
no, I'm not really a wedding singer. As I was saying, you know, it was more private parties and stuff like that it sort of moved to. But then I fell into the tribute world. This is where things really sort of changed for me, drastically actually, and mentally. So I was doing all these pubs, restaurants, all these kind of things, and my agent said to me, like, would you ever consider doing a Whitney Houston tribute? And I thought, Whitney Houston, like, are you sure? He said, I think it will really suit you. I think you can pull it off. And I was like, okay. Also, the money's like triple. So I thought, yeah, okay.
I mean, yeah, I'll do it.
So I'll do it. So yeah, I got to work on this like Whitney show, and I started, you know, I did some really cool stuff actually, you know, with the Whitney show. I even performed at a very intimate event, and Rio Ferdinand was there.
Okay.
Like,
just dropping the names in now.
Just a bit of names.
Yeah. Okay.
Which was cool. I performed at the Oval Cricket Ground doing a Whitney show. Yeah, like I got some really cool stuff. And when all these kind of things were happening, I was like, oh, okay, like, you know, maybe there is something here, especially like with the tribute world. But also I remember doing an X Factor audition and one of the judges saying to me, not judges, like I never made it to actually judges stage,
like
but the panel, whoever it was, like the producers, it would have been, saying, you know, like if you do tributes, like no one will ever look at you. Like you kind of just, you'll never get anywhere. And that always stuck with me, but I still went on to do it anyway. Again, like the money was great and I quite enjoyed it. Like I have an alter ego when I step out onto the stage anyway. So like I liked getting into a character as such. But yeah, I went on to do these tribute shows and it was all going great. But then I was finding it hard. And this is something I still struggle with today. Like obviously going out now on the big stage, doing like Tina Turner, Whitney Houston, you kind of lose who you are, or you can lose who you are as an artist.
Right.
Because I write music as well. Like I songwrite. I can play a little bit of piano. I've produced some songs myself, not fully to the end. I'll get an actual producer to like finish it for me. And before I fell into this show, I was actually solidly working on just my own music career. I invested quite a lot. I was going to launch like a solo project because I started releasing music in like 2019. And I was like, wow, this is like one of my wildest dreams to just release a song, like literally, not just the performing side. And I'd created all this music, put it all together, was working on literally just focusing on just going out and putting myself out as an artist.
Yeah.
And then that's when the Starstruck thing happened and I got into this show. So that kind of got pushed aside. But I remember thinking, I'm really starting to find myself as an artist. I really enjoy it because I love writing music. I love doing my own stuff. But being in the shows I'm in now, you kind of get lost in the world of being somebody else, I guess. Like it is mentally challenging. And I have to remember sometimes, like, because I have to change my voice to be Tina. Like I have to really change my voice.
Yeah.
So getting used to that, you just kind of like I lost who I was, I suppose, as Holly, as a singer.
So I kind of get it. It's because you're portraying another character.
Yeah.
And you're doing it very, very well and very successfully, but you have to become that person. You have to disregard who you are.
Yeah.
So any spare time you get, you just want to relax and chill out.
Exactly. And I always get people like, oh, you know, when you're releasing music, or do you want to come to the studio, or all these other opportunities. And I'm like, I just want to rest. Like, I want to, but I just want to chill.
So do you think, what's the future plan? Obviously, you're only a couple of years into doing this as you are now.
I'm 2 years in now. And, you know, this opportunity came to me at 31 years old, you know, which is just crazy. So, you know, at this age, everyone thinks I'm going to have my life together. I'm going to be doing, you know, would have hit all my goals and everything. But like, I'm still figuring it out. Like, I don't know.
You never stop figuring it out. You know, like there's people out there that we would perceive as figure their life out, kids, family, married, all this sort of thing. And they might end up divorced. They don't have the answer, you know? And this is something that's really key, not just for you, but for everyone.
Yeah.
That there are so many people that would give anything to be in the position you're in.
They would, but I would also give, like, to have what others have, in the sense like
we'll never be happy.
It's not that, like, you know, I want a family. I want to settle down. I want to meet someone, and I find in the job that I'm in, that's really hard because like with my lifestyle, you know, it's hard. So like when you say kind of like what's next, or maybe like what my goals are, it's like I'm hitting an age where I need to think about, you know, having kids and like meeting someone. So I don't want to think too far ahead with my music career or singing career, because that's what I really want at this moment. You know, I'm still going to continue doing this for at least another couple of years, I'd imagine. I'd like to. But I'd like to imagine that's the point where I sort of like have a little bit of a break and like settle down. But then who knows? But this is a reason as well why I've recently started a clothing brand.
This was what I was going to get on to. Okay, so HB Clothing, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just touch base with this first of all. It's because of all the spare time you've got, you thought you'd use some of it up, which is your mental. But okay, you've created a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
And it is, I saw a couple of sneak peeks. You had a photo shoot yesterday for this brand. So when is this all launching?
So there's not a release date as of yet. However, I can say I'm very close to it. This has been a project that's been in the making for about 6 to 8 months, which is quite a short amount of time, in fairness, I suppose. The idea came around when I realised, like you say, I've got all this spare time. So when I first come into this job role, my life before was hectic. Like I was working 2 jobs. I had my day job and I was doing the gigs on the side, technically. And I had no spare time. Like I was exhausted. I was burnt into the ground. This job allows me to have a day off now when like a day off is a day off for me. I haven't got to worry about catching up with things or doing things because I've been too busy doing everything else. But I get long periods of time off. You know, I will have a week off.
Are you off for 18 days right now?
After Sunday, I've got like 18 days off. Yeah. So
that's just the circle of how it works.
Yeah. It's just how it works, which is absolutely fine. I love it. I have a lot of freedom as well with this. And I thought, and I enjoyed it because my body needed the rest and so did my voice. But then, you know, you're sort of sat with yourself and you're twiddling your thumbs, you know, and I was just a bit like, I need to be doing something. But also, what can I do which is going to create a potential like passive income for me for when I do stop singing and want to, you know, think about having kids and settling down and everything, because I can't perform then, you know, I'm self-employed. So I need something. But also it was just like a passion project, really. You know, it was just something I've always wanted. You know, we've got loads of different goals and dreams, like I do anyway. Like not just one. Like I love singing, but like there's so many other things that I want to do. And owning a clothing brand has always been one of them. So yeah, I just managed to get to work on it and I've absolutely loved the process so far. Like it's really exciting.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'm close to launching, but it's something that I can do in my spare time.
Where can people catch up with it if they do want to keep an eye on you? Is it all socials via you?
Socials at the moment. HB Clothing Official is the Instagram page.
What's yours?
Mine's at Holly Bannis.
Makes sense. BANNIS.
Yes. There will be a website. The website is available at the moment. It just says it's coming soon. So that's hb-clothing.com.
Okay, cool. So what sort of stuff we're talking about? Lifestyle is like gym wear?
It is gym wear, active wear. So yeah, a lot of gym wear, essentially, but also if you're going for a dog walk or if you're going for a hike or if you're just going out for a coffee, like I just live in that kind of stuff. But it's comfortable, but there is a deeper reason why I actually created the brand, because of my shape, basically. So like, you know, I'm a lot smaller on the top, like waist, and then I'm got a bit more curvier, I guess, on the bottom half. And there's so many brands out there, like fashion brands, that just don't fit me. They just don't fit properly. And I am very active. You know, I run, I go to the gym a lot. I have a PT 3 times a week. I walk a lot. I'm on stage, all that kind of stuff, traveling. So I've just found that no matter what I was wearing, just wasn't like squat proof or like a bit see-through or just comfortable. So yeah, that was kind of the idea behind just wanting to source something that actually fits shapes like me. Because I've got friends which are the same, you know, with leggings. Like it's more of a woman thing, but like to get the right pair of leggings is like really hard to find.
I know what you mean. Totally.
And I believe I've done that for me and my shape specifically. So, you know, I'm hoping that other people are going to feel the same when they wear it and they'll love it.
And it's coming soon.
It's coming soon.
I'm looking forward to, well, that came out weird. Looking forward to seeing it is what I was about to say. But you know what I mean.
I'll send you a pair of leggings.
Please do. A couple of things before we look into the future. Obviously, we know that you are on ITV Starstruck, which is very coincidental. You also have appeared on TV a few other times, haven't you?
I have.
One of which is Blind Date.
Oh, God, yes, Blind Date.
Okay, so how on earth are you landing on TV so often?
Do you know what? Like,
is it the agent?
No, none of these things are through my agent. These were all just off of my own back. I love TV. I love being in front of a camera. I'm a performer, you know, like I love being centre stage. But I've always been interested in TV work. Like I've always wondered just like what it's like behind the scenes and how it's actually ran. And I don't know, I've just, like I said, you know, looking at J-Lo on the TV, like seeing someone on TV is like, wow. So like, I suppose that's always kind of stuck with me. So I just thought, yeah. But at the time, obviously I was single and I applied for Blind Date and I got on the show. I wasn't the one choosing though. I was on the panel. So there was a guy who had to choose one of us.
Okay.
So I didn't get picked.
Oh.
Which, yeah.
Idiot.
I was quite glad though when the thing moved, whatever it is, like a...
the screen.
The screen. When the screen moved and I saw who it was, I was quite glad. But... it wasn't my type. What can I say?
Okay, cool.
Just
when you said
wasn't my
saw
type.
who it was, I thought you meant it's someone you knew.
No. He just wasn't my type.
My cousin's there. Great.
That would have been really
Researchers
awkward.
didn't do their job today.
No. So yeah, then off the back of that, because when you apply for these TV shows, they keep your details. So that was ITV, and I then got actually asked to do dinner dates shortly after.
What one's that one? I don't think I've seen that one.
So where you've got the menus and you have to pick 3 menus and you go on a date.
Yes,
with,
okay. Come down with me, but for dating.
Yeah, exactly
Okay, cool.
Exactly that. So ITV called me and said, we'd like you for dinner dates. And I went, that's cool, but I have to be the one that's choosing. I don't want to be one hosting dinner because I've already been rejected once on TV.
Yeah. I want to do some rejecting.
Yeah. So exactly that. And I was like, we don't know if we've got that position for you. I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to turn it down then. Then they came back to me with an email and was like, we have got the position. We'd love you to be the one choosing. So I was like, great, I will absolutely do it.
Okay.
That was a really fun experience. Really fun experience. So yeah, you get 5 menus in front of you. You choose 3 that seem most appealing, and then you go on a date with them.
Is
they
it all
cook for
filmed
you.
in one week?
It's filmed over the course of 5 days. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you do 3 nights in a row. Go for dinner with somebody else.
Yeah. Sorry, 4 nights. Yeah.
4
So
nights.
you do 3 nights in a row. So
you choose
go
one.
to their house. They cook for you. And then you choose which one you actually want to go out on a date with. So night 4 is actual date night.
And someone else cooks.
And we go to a restaurant. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And how did that go for you?
I mean,
Because
it
does
wasn't
also say here, still single.
Still single. So yeah, it wasn't successful. Nice guy, but again, just not for me.
Yeah.
Just
okay.
not for me.
When was
None
that?
of them were. That was 2020.
Do you think, are you going to keep going on dating shows?
I would.
Love Island?
I think I'm too old for that now, apparently. Apparently, no over 30s.
Are you serious? Well,
Because I would love to go on Love Island.
right. Okay.
I would love that. But yeah, no, apparently it's only over 30s. So too old.
I didn't know that. I didn't even know it was a thing.
I mean, somebody's in there now that's over 30, but they're like a celebrity bombshell. So it's probably
Who?
allowed. Joey Essex.
Yeah, I was going to say he's my age.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. But apparently, so, yeah.
I'm confused by that. So surely someone's got to create a Love Island. I'm just spurring off now. Create a Love Island for our generation.
Yes,
'Cause it'd be
exactly. That's
less
what we
bullshit.
need. That's what I mean. Like more life experiences as well. Do you know what I mean? Like so much more
It would be
interesting
a well funny
conversation.
watch as well, wouldn't it?
Should we create that?
Yeah, okay, cool. We're doing it. So that's the end of this. We're going to go, what are we going to call it?
That idea's not come to me yet. I'll
Okay.
have to come
We'll
back to you
figure
with
it out.
that. We'll figure that one out.
Could we? I just got to be sofas and some mood lighting, and that's it. I'm just chilled.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Cut the candles.
And people would book on just to have the time off work.
Exactly.
It'd
Exactly.
be
It's a
incredible.
win-win.
I've always said I'd love to go in Big Brother, the normal Big
I
Brother.
would have loved Big Brother.
Yeah,
I
just 'cause
love that.
just think it's 6 weeks of bliss.
That's what I mean.
Just doing nothing.
It's hard work behind the camera though on TV.
Mm.
It's not just sit back and chill.
Yeah, well, you got to play your character, haven't you?
Yeah.
Depends what show you're on. Okay, let's look forward a little bit into the world of Holly Bannis. What if there are people out here that are, which actually this is looking back a little bit as well. If there are people out here watching this that want to get into your field, they're singers, they want to get into your line of work. Obviously, you had a very unique journey into it, but you've learned a lot about it since. What would your best advice be to somebody that's literally sat here watching this thinking, I want to do that. I wish I was a singer, if you've got the talent, of course.
Do you know what? I've got a really good example for this because my journey's different compared, I suppose, in the sense that if you're starting out now, you have social media. Like when I first started, social media was around, but 10 years ago, Instagram was nothing like it is now, like TikTok, all this kind of stuff. And bizarrely, when I did start singing, I didn't even have a show reel. I had nothing. Like, I wasn't even on my agent's websites. It was just, I did so well everywhere that I went. I was fortunate enough that I didn't need any of that. Whereas nowadays, you know, to even be seen anywhere or get onto an agent's book or anything, you need to have like some sort of show reel, which is important. And I do think, you know, you should go and do that. But sorry, I just had a blank moment. Can I just have a sip of water?
Yeah, mate, you're fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Sorry. I do this. My brain just zones out.
No,
This
fine.
just happens.
You're talking loads. It's fine.
No, it's good. It's good. So I've got an example where I performed at a restaurant. I was in a Whitney Houston show there, and I met this girl in the toilet. And she's older than me. She's 3 or 4 years older than me. She's actually one of my best friends now. But she come up to me in the toilets and she was like, like, I'm a singer, but, you know, I've never done anything with it. You know, like, it's my dream to be a singer. Like, what can I do, basically? And I remember that night, I was so tired. I almost couldn't be bothered to do that. Everyone gets like that with work, right? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I have such like an amazing job and career, but like sometimes you have nights where you're just like, oh. And I'd hit a point as well where I was like 9 years into doing the same old thing. It was a bit like, you know, it gets a bit same. But she said that to me and I thought, fucking hell, like, I'm living your dream job right now. Do you know what I mean? So, but I do hear that a lot from people. They will say, oh, my daughter really wants to get into singing. What can I do? And like, I never really know what to say, I suppose, because for me, it's just kind of like, I've just been so fixated on my own path and doing things for me my own way. It is different for everyone. But with this particular person, that really stuck with me. And afterwards, I took her details. I stayed in contact with her. And I said to her, like, if it's what you want to do, you will do it. Like, you know, you look at me and think, oh, wow, like, you know, that's exactly what I want to be doing. Remember, I didn't start from a young age. So it's possible for anyone to start at whatever age. Look at my dad, you know, he was 40. But you have to want to do it. And there's a lot of work that you have got to put into it. So just practice. If you believe you can sing, if you believe that, you know, you can act, you can perform, even I danced for years as well, you've got to go out and look for the opportunities as well, because they don't fall on your lap, just like I thought they would when I was younger. Yeah. But nowadays it does seem to be heavily focused around like that YouTube content and Instagram and like making the content. And this is exactly what my friend's done. And she now sings, like, which is just mental. She's got 3 kids as well. She's got a partner at home. And, you know, at 35, I think was her age, she's just started singing. Like, we had one conversation in the toilet once and I just spoke to her every day and said to her, like, look, get a set together, first of all. Like, look at the songs that you like singing or that go down well in places or that you'd want to hear if you're out and you see a singer. Make sure you sing them well. If you can sing them well and you've got charisma, then you are more than halfway there. It's just putting the work together and getting yourself out there. That's what's hard. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. That is honestly the key thing. Like, you see so many singers, right, that probably there's better singers out there. But you think, well, why have they got where they are? It's consistency. Yeah. It's consistency. You have to, and self-belief. You have to have self-belief.
Okay. So everyone's got the access to a smartphone, camera phone these days. You've got social media. TikTok is doing wild things. I could name like 4 or 5 artists that are...
I don't use TikTok. Oh, I go in too much of a hole with TikTok. I get it. I can't even open the app. I just don't use it.
But you know, for example, Benson Boone.
Who's that?
Beautiful Things. He's a singer, right? If I played you the song,
I know who he is.
Yeah, you know who it is. David Kushner, or Kushner, I think his name is. He's another one, but they're blown up and they're mega now.
From TikTok.
Yeah, some of the artists were famous and then got onto TikTok, started pushing their branding and themselves, and they became even bigger. Like Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So she was famous because of Disney, right?
Yeah.
But then she started doing her stuff, went on and I had a TikTok campaign and stuff. What's it called? Espresso, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's gone through the roof.
I know.
She was always going to get there.
Yeah.
It's just that's the avenue for it. So
that's the thing. It's hard for me to say because the avenues are so different now. Don't get me wrong. Like, you know, I had my dad to help me, but all he did was give me a nudge in the right direction. Like, it's easy, you know, all he really did was give me an agent. Anyone can go and get an agent. I had to do all the rest. I did all the rest. You know, my dad hasn't put me where I am. He there's probably a ton of other contacts he could have given me, you know, but he hasn't. And I'm really proud of that. And I love that about my career, because I truly believe that I've built that myself. People used to think, you know, like, oh, you know, she'll probably get wherever she is because of who her dad is. Or it would be the reverse sometimes because of how my dad is, even though, you know, he really downplays sort of like who he is and what he's done, which I love. He's so humble. But, you know, we've always grown up and just lived in like a 3-terrace bedroom house in a normal town. Like, people think, oh, well, if your dad's who he is, why has he not got a Ferrari out the front, or you've got a big mansion and stuff? Like, don't get me wrong, he has that kind of stuff now. He has, you know, his mentality is like, you work hard all your life to enjoy it later on. Whereas our generation's a bit different, I feel like, you know, we just kind of take everything,
straight off,
get everything that we can and take it and run with it. But yeah, I just think it's very different now, like, to put yourself out there, like, and the advice to give people. I just think if you want it, you work for it, you will get it. And the more you think about it, you will bring it about. Like, visualizing is so massive for this. Like, I'm huge on visualizing. Like, you have to truly see that vision of you on that big stage, whatever your goal is. Like, I visualize that every day, like in the mornings. Like, I have such a strict morning routine, and that's part of it. Because I've got my big top goal for what, you know, I can die happy once I hit that one big goal. And I think you've just got to, you have to have the passion for what you want to do, and you've got to believe in it, and you've just got to see yourself doing it, and you will create it.
Can I ask, what is that one big goal?
Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care if I'm a backing vocalist on that stage, or do you know what? It's weird because obviously I want to be a singer in my own right.
Yeah.
I want to be an artist in my own right. But that world and industry is hard. Like, I love Ray, the singer, and she's an independent artist, and watching how difficult it is as an independent artist to get somewhere, to even make any money, you know. And then I'm in a position I'm in now, and I live a wonderful life, and I get to perform so regularly and, you know, have everything that I do. But yet no one really, no, I'm not big and famous. I haven't got all the success that you would consider as someone like Ray would. But, like, you know, that was a really tough journey, and it's so hard to get there, and it's like a one in a however many chances to do that as an independent artist. So, yeah, I think if I can get to Wembley Stadium, whether it's as an artist myself, which is going to be so hard, or even just in another existing band, like, you know, if I'm just on that show, even a dancer, I don't care. Like, Wembley Stadium, no, not the arena, the stadium, like, that's my goal.
When you get to Wembley Stadium.
When I get to Wembley Stadium, I will get there.
Exactly.
I will. I visualise this. I see it. I know what I'm wearing. I know what colour my hair is. Like,
what colour's your hair?
Like, got bits of blonde going through it. It's quite light brown with blonde and really long. Yeah.
Well, down to the floor.
Yeah, not down to the floor.
Feet.
It's like nice and curly, wavy, like the wind going all in it.
I like it, but this is the sort of vision you've got to have.
You have to be so detailed with it. I know what outfit I'm wearing. You know, it's all white. It's like PVC almost. Like, I've got these boots on. Yeah, it's like sexy energy, like female energy, like empowering. And I can shut my eyes and see all the lights going as well all around the stadium, everyone waving their phones and everything. Like, you have to really detail your vision.
There's a few people that want me to ask more about the PVC outfit, but we'll move on. That's episode 2, available in link in bio. Okay, there's
spicy.
Yeah, there's a question I want to ask. I ask everyone, and that is, do you have a life quote or motto that you live by?
I do. I think I've said one already about problems being gifts, right?
I like it.
But there's another one which came to light more so in the recent years for me, which is, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you.
I love that. I've seen that, and I love that. Yeah.
And
you said it perfectly as well, because you can say it wrong.
You
said it perfectly.
You can say it wrong, and I think that's really important, because I've been around a lot of bad people in my life, and, you know, different paths that I've taken. And it was only when I had this big realisation, transformation period a few years back, where I had to sit back and think, who is good for me in my life and who is bad for me? And I had to cut a lot of people off. But even now, you know, like, I have my friends that are good friends. We all have them day ones, you know. But but I also select other friends that I like to be around and, you know, give me the right energy and drive me and push me and elevate me. It's important to have them people around you, like-minded people. So I think that's a really important quote.
I've got so much more to talk to you about after this because it's something you can get involved with. Just for one more time, can you just say that? Because that is something I absolutely love, that quote.
You can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you.
Exactly. I love it. It's just in case you don't get it, by the way. Just it's the emphasis in the can and can't. So you can't change the people that are currently around you, but you can change those people, get rid of them, get new ones in. That's what it's basically saying.
Yeah.
If you want to know more about it, Google Circle of Influence. I highly recommend you look into that.
Okay.
There's this equation you can work out if you put 5 people you spend the most time with, and that is not who you'd like to spend the most time with, who you do spend the most time with. So, for example, often it's family that you might live with or people you live with or people you see at work, because sadly, if you work a 9 to 5 or whatever, you might see the same people day in, day out. They are your circle of influence. If you write them down financially, for example, if you write those people down and you guesstimate their average income, so you've got 5 names, 5 guesses of the income, add them all up, divide them by 5. If you continue spending the rest of your life with those 5 people, your income will average that. And it doesn't just work for income. Yeah.
I love that.
It's awesome. It's really, really good. But it's not just income. It works for everything.
Yeah.
Finance is the easiest way to explain it.
Yeah.
But it works for literally absolutely everything. Attitude towards it. For example, if you spend the rest of your life with 5 millionaires, I'm going to guarantee you, you're going to be a millionaire.
Yeah, makes sense, right?
If you spend 5 years with, the rest of your life with 5 criminals, guess what's going to happen?
That's it. You become who you surround yourself with. You do. That's why I had to move away from a lot of people, because I wouldn't be able to pursue the career that I'm doing now if I was still stuck around a lot of other people that I used to be. 100%.
I think that's what's key. Changing, make sure that you've got the right people around you. And if people aren't supporting what you're doing, you've got the wrong people around you.
Yeah.
You know, I've got friends that I've known for umpteen years and they'll just see my stuff and just off it goes again. I've got people that I've met more recently have not. You've supported everything I've done over the last 4 or 5 days.
Isn't it funny? That's how it tends to go.
Yeah.
Like it's like strangers are your biggest supporters always.
Because I think it comes down to we're like-minded in, again, I'll speak to you afterwards, but we're like-minded and we want the same things for each other.
Yeah.
We were talking the other day about the idea of creating a circle of a share circle, we would call it. So every time somebody creates a piece of content, if it's a new poster for your latest show, your tour, whatever it's going to be, you send it to everyone and then we all go, right, cool, share it.
Amazing.
Cost me nothing.
Love that. Exactly.
Why wouldn't
it doesn't.
I do it?
I have to say, my friends are great. They are supportive. They come to my shows. I've got some very, very supportive friends. I really do. But I fully see this a lot and I can agree, and I have experienced the feeling still of exactly that, you know, like it takes 2 seconds to share something, it takes 2 seconds to like something, and like you just don't get that sometimes from people.
Crazy, isn't it? So support people, because let me tell you this, here's the biggest thing about it, right? Before we finish off, right? If those people you support projectile through the roof, which they will do at some point in their life, and you haven't been there, you have been there with them, they'll support you. If you haven't supported them, they'll always be your friend, but they're not going to lift you, you know, because I know I could name 3 or 4 people, one of them's my day one as well, that have always been there for me, and I'll buy him a house, I'll buy his son a house, you know, and I'll do everything for him. The same for my family, I'll do everything for them. I mean, I say it all sounds financial, but
I get your point, 100%.
You know? You support me, I'll change your life.
Yeah. Oh,
that's what it is. You know? Anyway, right, there's one last thing that I'd like to go through with you. This is the Dash book.
Okay.
This is for your life quote or your motto. You do have 2. You can write them both in there.
Great.
This is for the next guest to take a look at. Every guest that comes here have to look through. So feel free to flick through it and check it out. Is there anything you want to add before we sort of tie it off? We'll have you back again to talk more.
I love that. There's always stuff to talk about. I suppose, as you all now know what I do and who I am, it would be great if anyone wants to come and see the shows. You can find us at What's Love Got to Do With It show and at Whitney Queen of the Night on Instagram, Facebook, all of that. If you want to get tickets, any one of those ats, check us out and please come watch the show. More importantly, where are you? Me? Social media. At Holly Bannis. At Holly Bannis. Check it out, because obviously all the links are there to the shows. They are. Always putting up the new content and that. So make sure you check it out. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome. Let me give you this book. I'll let you finish off with that. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Holly. We'll see you again very, very soon. Definitely. We'll see you on the next one.